Hello and welcome to another video. So if I was to tell you that we were here today to explore an old abandoned canal in Bradford, you would say, I know which one you're talking about. You're on about the one that comes off the Leeds and Liverpool canal and all the way into the centre of Bradford. But what if I was to tell you that that's not the one I'm talking about? And I'm nowhere near that. I'm the other side of Bradford in a little suburb called Birkenshaw. And yes, for once this is not a rumour, this is absolutely true. And I'm right here now where it was. But I can hear you saying now, where? What are you talking about? Well, let's find out. Back in 1780, a man called John Emmet and his 3 business partners, they were iron founders of Halifax. They leased some land in Birkenshaw for a furnace and a foundry which was operating by 1782. The furnace was known locally as the Birkenshaw Foundry and was located here at the end of the aptly named Furnace Lane, a big clue there to its past. There are no signs of the foundry anymore, but this is probably what it would have looked like. This was a similar type of foundry from the same time period. If we look at this old map, which is dated from 1852, you can clearly see the foundry labelled on there. There was also a colliery which mined for ironstone and coal. It was located at the bottom end of Birkenshaw near to where the M62 stands today. This was known as the Blue Hills Colliery, named so after the blue coloured hills that stood at the side of it. If I show you on the map here, you can clearly see the mounds. They were in fact the spoil heaps from the collieries in the area and blue in colour due to the iron ore that was mined from the ground, and the spoil was left over to create these blue coloured hills. On this site today stands a working farm, also known as Blue Hills Farm. In the days before railways, and in order for them to transport coal and ironstone from the mine to the furnace, in 1782 they decided to build their own canal across the land. It was known locally as Emmet's Canal. It was published that the canal was only 1 mile in length and that it operated tugboats or small barges pulled by horses up and down the navigation. Little is known about this canal and there is very little published information about it today, but it did exist. Now if you look at the earliest map I could find from 1854, you will see it's labelled as Navigation Bank. A navigation referring to it being a water channel or a canal, as you see today with modern river canals called a navigation. Another theory that seems to have been mentioned in recent times was that it could have also been used as a linear reservoir to supply water for the water wheel on the Birkenshaw Beck, which was also related to the foundry, as you can see here. Okay, so let's now talk about the route of the canal. So as you can see, the canal ran along this bank in here, and you can clearly see the banking supporting it there, all the way down to the colliery, which is at the bottom of the site. Now this section here I suspect was some kind of a basin for where the canal ended, and they would have loaded the goods on at this end here. Now if we go back to the other end, we're not quite sure where the canal ended. To me it looks like it ended here, but some people have speculated that it actually went all the way up to the top near the foundry here. But as there was no locks on this canal, I can't see the canal navigating all the way up this hill here. So I suspect that that might have just been a rumour. And they probably had a track that went up the hill here when the horses pulled the goods up in maybe carts up to the top to the foundry there. There's also evidence that points to the canal actually being longer than what they state in the book. So the book says it was 1 mile long, which would be this section here. There are conflicting stories that say it was 2 miles in length, and it actually ran all the way down to this site here, because there was another colliery located just at the bottom there. If I just put the blue line on this section, you'll see where the extension ran. So at the bottom there was a colliery here as well, and what appears to be a possible basin at the bottom there. Now I don't know where they got this from with the extended route. I've looked at the old maps from the 1850s and it shows a footpath which runs in exactly the same location there. Now they could have mistaken the footpath for an extension to the navigation bank, which ran all the way down here, or the footpath could have followed the existing route of the canal, which was long gone at this point. They could have been referring to an earlier map that did show the canal at this section, but the map that I've got doesn't show it. So if anyone has an earlier map that they can find that puts the canal on this second section here, I'd be really interested to find out. So if you have that, please let me know in the comments below. We are going to take a closer look at this second section here in a second video to this one. I'll venture down there and I'll look for any clues or anything left that might indicate that there was a canal in that location. Okay, so let's get back down on the ground and we're going to walk along the embankment, along the canal route, and have a look a bit closer at the details. Okay, so let's start having a look round on the site. So I'm down here now in Birkenshaw and I'm right on the point where the canal would have been. So if you just look behind the camera here, at the top of the hill there, the furnace would have been just up there. And this is the slope that I was talking about, which comes down to here. So it's level where I am now. And the slope is just a gradual slope up there, but you can see, if I walk a bit closer, it looks like there was a path there because it's sort of cutting through the landscape on a gradient, and it looks like there was some path there. Definitely not a lock anyway that we're aware of, because it did state in the book there was no locks on this canal. But if I just show you things like this is what's left in the field. It's definitely some form of like a fence post or something, where they would have had a railing across it. I couldn't even tell you what that was, but it looks very old, and I'm guessing it was related to this footpath or the edge of the canal here. Now, just down there in the trees is the Birkenshaw Beck. Now, the water wheel, I'm told, would have been over there, just at the side of the mill. And then all along this route here, it's lined with rocks and bricks like this that are cut out. You can see they've been chipped and cut. They've got nice straight edges there. And they are littered all the way up the banking here at the side. And on this bit here, you can see them all down here. So this is where the old foundry was, just at the top of the furnace lane. So it's now, as you can see, a house. This is the site of the old foundry there. And then this is the slope down there to the canal at the bottom, just where that mud is in the trees. That's where the canal starts. So that could have been a basin down there. And then they brought all the goods up here with horses, or some other way. That's all I can think of in that time. Now, while I'm down here just on the beck, could this be the remains of the old water wheel? So we've got some kind of wall there, and it's all level. And then on the other side of the brook, if I can get over without falling in. Yes. There is some large brick pillars. As you can see, they're all discarded up here. I don't know, could be absolutely nothing, but could have been there. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue along this level section where I think the canal started. So I think it was about here that the canal started, and it would have headed off this way. So let's walk down here and see what we can see. So one of the biggest problems that I've got is I'm not quite sure whether this level part that I'm on now was the actual canal basin. and there was walls either side of it, and they've just filled it in and covered across it, so it's totally level. Or whether this, so were the walls there either side and the channel was in here and then they filled it across, or was this an embankment holding back the water against the land here? So this slopes down here, and then this would have been built up to hold back the water, and the channel would have actually been there. It's quite a deep channel there, and it is lined with rocks, but it doesn't look too wide. But then again, it wouldn't have needed to be. So this could have just been an embankment to hold that back, and it's not actually a canal on both sides, as in a neat canal with walls. So it could have been either this side or buried under here. That's what we don't know, because there's no pictures of it anywhere, and there's very, very little information. So I've just walked down the embankment a little bit, and I'm just going to show you some stones here which was used to hold back the embankment or to support it. And again, I'm not sure if these were the edges of the canal on this side or the other side, but they're absolutely everywhere. But if we just turn this way and look in the distance there, beyond where I am, you can see the line of the canal curving around the landscape there and heading off behind the hill, which is where we're going to go. You can clearly see the slope here and in the distance there. So I'm going to shock some of you now. I'm going to tell you that I've heard a rumour. You know we like a rumour on this channel. Love a rumour. So I heard a rumour of somebody that walked this in the 80s, and they said that right on the far side at the end where I think the basin was, they found a section of wall that was intact, like an edge of a canal or a basin wall right at the other end. So we'll find out when we get down there if that's true, or it could have been taken away because there is a farm there now. But we'll see if that rumour's true anyway. There's a couple of bits of stone down here. It's definitely been re-landscaped around here because obviously it's a working farm now, and they've obviously moved a lot of stuff around. And you got to remember, this canal would have been, well, about 250 years ago, so it's a long time ago. We're not talking about Victorian period, we're talking just before that. So it was definitely 200 plus years old. So if there's anything left, you're going to be lucky, because like I said, it's 250 plus years old. When we get to this point here, you can clearly see the banking just here on the edge. What makes me think that this might have been the channel and not here is that, for example, at this point here, it would have been very wide and very shallow. I know these tugboats weren't very deep, but I would have thought with the weight of the ironstone and coal, they would have been quite deep. They would have sunk quite deep into the ground. I'm going to keep heading this way anyway, and if I find anything significant, I'll let you know.
Again, you can see the curvature there of the bank in there. But this is what makes me think that this was the channel and it was filled in. Could have been really deep down there. I could be totally wrong and it could have been here. But like I said, there's nothing to prove otherwise. This looks perfectly level and quite a wide banking to support something. Could there be walls buried down here? Okay, so at the end of the line now, end of the mile long section, and unfortunately due to farming and such, there isn't much left. And I'm just going to show you where I think the water basin was. It's just over here behind the camera. So you can see the canal would have come in here, and it's a lot wider here. So I'm presuming there was some sort of basin here, and it's got really high edges up there, and there's a lot of stones and things. So I'm presuming that that was some kind of a wall for a basin. But there's the Blue Hills farm there in the background. Obviously I can't go any further than this now. Well, unfortunately that's all there is to see really. So we've walked along the whole mile stretch, and you can clearly see there's definitely something there, and it definitely was a canal, and you can see the brick linings on the edges and everything. But you're not going to see anything else really. I mean, like I said, it's over 250 years old, and you know, it's now agriculture and private land, so you're going to have to, you know, dig things up, move things. You've got animals, cattle rolling all over it, so it's going to change. So yeah, unfortunately there wasn't much to see, but I wasn't expecting much either. I wasn't expecting to see a fully fledged canal with locks and barges are going up and down it. I knew that that wasn't the case. Hence the title of this video, Abandoned and Long Gone. So, like I said, nearly 300 years of being sat there, that's what's left. Now, if that was in a more built up area, there wouldn't have been anything left. It would have been built over and re-leveled and everything. So it's good that it is an agricultural area and it's still used for farming today, which means that, you know, there's something left because it's still there. You can clearly see it. What we're going to do now, so if you want to join me in the second part of this video, so come back for part 2, what I'm going to do is head over from Blue Hills Farm all the way down to the bottom end where the other colliery was, and see if the other rumour, I like rumours, if the other rumour was true, that it actually ran for 2 miles. Now I know a lot of it won't exist because the M62 is there now, but there might be things at either side. So that's what I'm going to go look at now. So join me in the next video for that, which is part 2. I don't know if it's going to be sequentially the next video or whether it's going to come up soon, but keep your eyes peeled for the Emmet's Canal part 2. So we'll carry on with that. But thank you very much for joining me on this. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel and for more videos like this, because we've got plenty of other abandoned canals and railways and things coming up. And also like the video and click the notification bell as well. But thank you very much from me on AdventureMe. We'll see you soon. Bye.